Hello everyone, my name is Ash, and welcome to my crafting corner. Today we'll be painting Thanos the Mad Titan. All of the gold needs a black base coat before you can get a good coat on it. You can see here that all these little parts that have gold, it's the same way the whole way through, so we're not going to show that. On to his boots. Between each one of these cracks, we're applying a old gold. For the chest piece and most of the legs, the arms and part of his neck, it's just a blue wash multiple times to get a really nice coat. I was actually lucky to have this perfect color without having to mix anything, because when you mix in small batches, it's hard to recreate what you were going for. This is an old gold we're going to be putting on top of the shoulder pauldrons. It's supposed to be just one solid gold color in the picture, but it was too boring to have just a single color. So I went through the whole thing and just applied different types of metal paints, mostly just gold, bronze, copper, things like that over the whole thing. Getting the gold where you need it to be in these small spots around the back of the, I guess you call it a chest plate or a kilt, I believe is actually the correct term. It's very difficult to get where I needed it to go, but it turned out very nice once the clear coat was on to really make the colors kind of blend together more properly. Eventually this all will get a dark wash, so you don't have to worry about that. Probably one of the things I find most satisfying when painting is doing washes now. Right here is something I found actually really made it pop a lot more than the gold. It's applying this copper color into the kind of recesses on the, what looks to be lettering in the shoulders. I think what I could have done differently is maybe painted a different type of maybe copper or bronze for each letter individually. But I actually like how it turned out to make instead of a single solid color, much more have variation, things like that. The other side is the exact same way, just fill it in, take your time, get all the paint you need and where you need to go. And just a tiny bit more, just on the little neck of thing. I don't know what it's called. It's kind of like a, I don't know, maybe a cushion. Yeah, this is the overall finish, and I think it looks really good. So right here, I'm going to be trying something I don't normally do. I'm going to airbrush a black in between each muscle, which the point is to create more of a shadowing effect. If I get overspray, that's perfectly fine, because what it will do is we'll take a slightly, like not too wet paper towel. You can actually rub off the excess that you don't need. Now we'll be doing a highlight on the muscles, just doing circular patterns with a lighter blue on each one of the muscles to really bring out the fact that this is higher up than the lower parts of the dark blue. Now the gauntlets. I love comic book Thanos' design way more than the movies. He's just way cooler. The gauntlets, we went with that old gold to give it back into the on top of a glove. It's like a gardening glove, kind of. You have the leather underneath that I wanted a different look than just solid gold. And I think it turned out very nice. Just to give that depth to it. To get the gems the way I wanted them to look, we went with the strongest white paint I had to do a base layer. This took about 2 to 3 coats to really cover the gold. It makes it so the layers going on top of it will stand out a lot more and they'll be more vibrant. Things like gems, and especially when you want to do like something that's vibrating heat, you want to do as bright as possible as you can for the first layer. You can also spray around it like an airbrush just to kind of give a mist effect that the light is radiating out. I didn't really want to do this with the gems. I just wanted to go with the standard bright colors, and I think it turned out really, really nice. Blue especially is really good. The red, I think it took more coats than most of them. The green is, I never realized how big of a gem they are different wise for on the knuckles, from the thumb to the back of the hand. It's just a standard, like my absolute standard of yellow paint. There's no real high quality thing here. Just get what you can, fill it in, and then when it's done, now that the whole piece is clear coated, we're applying a gloss varnish on top of each gem to give it a kind of glimmer effect. I think what would have been a really good idea is to actually figure out where I want the light source to come from, apply a smaller dot of lighter color on top. So his face is just a eggplant purple spattered on the whole thing to cover up as much as I can. Later on, we'll be applying a sponging effect of a lighter purple on top of it to highlight all his chin, his cheeks, parts like that. Getting the darkest purple paint we have, we create a wash, which is like 90% water and 10% paint. Going into each one of these little wrinkles and recesses of the face to kind of build up some shadowing effect. Probably could have been done with just taking a larger brush and going over the whole thing. But I wanted to try doing it in this much more delicate way so I don't affect the gold on the face and that helmet, things like that. All right, this is what I was talking about, taking a sponge and getting a lighter purple and going over his chin, things like that, only hit the highlights. It doesn't look very bright right now, but when it dries, it really is much of brighter purple than the base color. I think I went a little overboard at first, so what we did is I went back and reapplied some of that eggplant purple back into it to kind of tone it down a bit and blend it all together. For his teeth, I just used my standard white. I never realized that I should have applied a brown wash to kind of make his teeth a bit uglier overall. Here, Thanos has in comics red, blue, and sometimes other color dyes. I think the red with a black base coat really makes it more look like a villain, and it looks sinister, and I love that. We're on to the base. This thing took a long time to print. Each one of these skulls, I think there's like 27 or almost 30 of them. I use a ivory paint. I think I actually bought it specifically for this base. There's so many skulls that I'm not going to show every single one of them getting painted. It's just way too long. You can see all these little greeblies here. It's all going to be painted with like every single metal paint I have. I think it's just too much small little work to really have a point to it. I'll get back to it once it's painted and you can see the update. So here is finished greeblies on the side. It doesn't need to be super neat because it's all going to get black washed and be worn out. This was actually probably the most satisfying part of the entire paint job, was black washing the base. Normally when I do washes for skins and things like that, I'll actually apply a clear coat before because it bites in incredibly fast when it's not coated. But in the case of this, I want that black to really get into the rocks, skulls, all the little greeblies on the side. It just needs to be darker than it appears because what it's got to be. And we'll apply some dry brushing on top, pop, and bring out all the high points and things like that later on. And we're just gonna go with a towel and just kind of get the most of it out, because if you don't, it's going to pool up in places you don't want. Now we're applying the dry brush. This is just a standard light gray, I believe. Just trying to hit only the highest points of the rocks. This guy is huge, like big. This was the biggest thing I printed. He's actually taller, not by much, from the Demon Tension we did before. This took so long to print, and priming, I leave things out. Like when it's fully primed, I'll leave it for a day so it makes sure it's completely cured. Things like that. I will say though that I really, really love Wicked's comic book art, that they try to go for more of the comics and not the movie versions. Because I'm going to be honest, I really don't like movie Thanos. It's just stupid. Comic book Thanos was threatening, cunning. The other one was just another brute. So, I know this took a long time to, let's be honest, I don't release a video every week or 2 times a week. Can't do that. I don't have the printers. I don't have the time. I'm just happy to be able to print things that I think look cool and maybe potentially help somebody figure out how to do something they want. I'm going to keep doing these videos. I enjoy making them. I enjoy painting, although it can be kind of annoying at times when you don't get the effect you want. I have right now, I believe, 1, maybe 2 more things completed that I can make videos for. Again, the next one is big. It's a 2-part piece that I kind of wish I printed a little bit smaller. To be honest, it's a little too big.